Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of See You Weekly. I'm Corey, your guest host. You could find me at raymusic.com. And here we have our guest panel. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hey, I'm Hannah Butler. You can find me on Twitter at Rye_407. And an interesting fact is Je parle français.
Hi, my name is Jack Yurden. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can find me at JA If you want to follow me in real life, you can find me at 126 Meander Pike.
Hi, my name is Sahar Khan. You can find me on Twitter at SuperSlySahar. And an interesting fact is, this past summer, I went to 5 different countries in less than 2 months.
Nice. Is that a new Twitter?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
Super slice.
Okay, so our first topic tonight is the Bechdel test. In Sweden, they're having a big overturn with all of that going on with their cinema. So, are you guys familiar with the Bechdel test? In order to pass, there are a few requirements. The film has to have 2 female characters who talk to one another, and their conversation has to not revolve around a man or the relationship to a man, and that conversation has to last longer than 1 minute. So, can you think of anything that passes that test right now?
No.
Yeah, no.
Literally, I don't look for that. So, I have no
I mean,
clue.
it's not really something you think about when you go to watch a film, and really it doesn't have a whole lot of bearing on whether the film is sexist or not. I mean, there are a lot of films that pass, like Black Swan passes the test, but that's like the epitome of male gaze. Like there's a ton of like sex scenes, women on women sex scenes. So it doesn't really have, it'll tell you if, it won't really tell you if a film is inherently sexist or not.
Yeah. But I do have to say, when I read about the Bechdel test and I thought back to everything I've watched on, especially on television, we watched watched the OC, Gossip Girl, things that are kind of catered towards young female audiences. I feel don't pass the Bechdel test, which is kind of ironic because usually every time when there are 2 female characters, they're talking about their love lives or relationship problems, and it's weird because the target audience are are girls, and these girls are just kind of falling into that kind of I guess, I don't know if it is sexist, but it's just kind of that mentality
yeah.
that we can't have a relationship unless we're talking about our boy problems. So
Also,
did you guys see that Lisa Kudrow video though from Scandal where she kicked?
that was
that was amazing. That was great.
So good.
Intense.
What were you saying? I'm sorry.
No. I think, I talk about guys a lot just because I'm a really emotional person. So I think that catches my attention, whatever. So I was crying. So I'm it catches my attention, it draws me in. I like talking about relationship problems. So if I watch something that I connect with, it's oh, I can watch this show, I can connect with it. So it depends on what's sexist and what's not. There's a line.
Yeah, I feel it's kind of it's kind of tough to say what really qualifies as sexist. I guess I don't know. I know that for some people, some women may be offended by certain things that I probably won't be offended by, and it differs from girl to girl. But I don't I think having a rating for sexism, when going to watch a movie or something like that, they're doing in Sweden. I feel when people do go to watch movies, like Hannah said, you don't really care about that because you just want to have something that you can relate to and laugh about, whether without thinking about kind of more serious issues like that.
Yeah, and I think the problem here is in Sweden where they're doing this, a movie can't receive an A rank if it doesn't pass the test. So it's gonna really lower the quality of movies that they're gonna be making if they have to have these certain scenes that, and I mean, most of the films are made by men, and which means you're gonna be having a lot of men trying to, appeal to women, which doesn't work a lot of times when they're writing films.
Right. In other news and film, there is an uprising in, apparently we have, I can't talk. What is happening is apparently we have more gun violence in PG-13 films than ever before, and people are starting to question the validity of the rating system we currently have. So what do you guys think? I know for me, I definitely think that's accurate. I feel there's more violence in PG-13 now than when I was younger.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I was going to say, even with the rating system in general, what constitutes as PG-13 that you see on like regular like television. I'm like shocked that that's even like, I'm like, what's the line now between PG-13 and rated R? Even PG-13 and like PG, I guess. Actually, that's kind of, I retract that statement. PG is very kiddish, but like there is a lot of violence, and you see violence like so much like everywhere now in like commercials, video games, everything, and people talk about that issue all the time with like the increase in gun violence we've seen. And I do think that like that is an issue because I feel like people are kind of desensitized to violence. I know like when we were younger, like it was weird to see, like a lot of violence in television, and it freaked you out, but now it's just like, oh, it happens because we see it so much. It's like not a big deal to us anymore.
Definitely causes like mean world syndrome.
Yeah.
Definitely. When I was a kid, I believe my first movie was an R-rated film. We were a really gangster movie. That's like my emotional sensibility. So like every time we go see a movie, like Paranormal Activity is PG-13, which I don't know why, because it's scary. But so like my little sister, she was under 17, and she's like, is it rated R? And we're like, let's see. And it's PG-13. We're like, oh yes, we'll get to see it together. And she had nightmares for like 2 weeks. So that rating system's a little screwed up, in my opinion.
I feel like rated R anymore is softcore porn.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like rated R is just like way too intense.
Or sex, like,
yeah. I don't know if I'm like really, conservative or childish or something, because like some things on PG-13 I would be like, well, why isn't that rated R? And rated R really is kind of like soft porn now. I'm like, what am I watching?
Yeah, you really gotta gauge it by how it's affecting the kids that are gonna go watch it, because even though the gun violence in PG-13 movies isn't bloody or gory, it does kind of desensitize you to how a gun is and what happens when you fire a gun. And this article they were talking about, the kids. This article they were talking about the kids that watch these movies like Avengers or other movies where there's big shootout scenes, they tend to be more aggressive.
Yeah, and now you got people shooting paintball guns on campus, so
thanks.
It's really working. So Conan is an idiot. He tweeted something extremely distasteful. I don't know if you've heard, but Marvel has a new superhero coming out who is a Muslim girl. And his tweet was met with a lot of backlash and criticism from people who thought his tweet was not only unoriginal, but racist and enabling negative stereotypes. Did you guys see the tweet?
Yes, I did. But it has recently been deleted, so you can't.
Surprise.
Yeah. So I know I think he said something along the lines of, oh, Marvel has a new superhero. I think her powers are to like be more interesting than her husband's other wives or something like that. And honestly, I was coming from like, I just thought the joke was distasteful, first of all, and like you said, enabling negative stereotypes about what people have, like what kind of image people have of like Muslim American women or Muslim women in general. And like some people might not think it's like a big deal, it was just a joke, but at least if you're gonna do a distasteful joke, at least make it like something original and different from like what other people make fun of. It was just so. I was like, this is just so like lame. There was no like, it wasn't an intelligent joke. It wasn't like funny, and I could see why people were offended by it. Also, it was inaccurate because I'm pretty sure the comic book character is like a teenager and like not married. So I understand people's frustration.
It's annoying.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny that it's coming out now, since this isn't Marvel's first Middle Eastern superhero. There's the Green Lantern is actually, the new one is Lebanese American. So it's weird that it's coming out.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's not the first time.
Diversity.
Yeah. I think that like the issue a lot of people had was, like talking about it's a Muslim like character, comic book character, and like why does like the faith even have to matter? Like it's just a new comic book character. Why can't people just like accept it for like that? And just that the whole like, I think the joke is what made it more of a big deal than it really was. Yeah.
So the Atlanta Braves are leaving downtown to move to a suburb due to the city refusing to spend taxpayers' money on renovations.
Okay. So I understand like why the city would not want to pay, like have their tax money go towards renovating like, a baseball or a stadium. Yeah, but because you want your you want your money to go towards education, building roads, parks and stuff. But I'm like, wouldn't the people how is going to the suburbs that gonna do that? Because wouldn't people in the suburbs want the feel the same way about their taxpayer dollars?
I agree with you. I think if I lived there, now I love me some baseball, but I don't want my tax money going to renovate something that I know the owner could probably pay for out of his pocket. And I think that if you want taxpayers to pay for that, that's, I don't know, I feel like it's really greedy. And whatever suburb is getting that park will be loving that.
It's Cobb County. I don't know where
County? Yeah, that's what it was.
Cobb County?
Rolling in the dough.
They're going to be having a blast.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I mean, stadiums also bring a lot of homelessness too, because it also brings down the it brings down the prices of the homes around them.
Oh yeah, because
yeah.
imagine living next to a baseball
stadium.
Baseball stadium. I didn't think
in
about
Chicago,
that.
that's a good thing, isn't it? People are
so what am I in
sitting
the
on
middle
yeah,
of
yeah,
the
those are also
stadium?
centered in metropolitan areas.
Yeah, that's more of an
metropolitan
urban
areas.
setting. Yeah,
so this has happened before going to the suburbs.
I'm just imagining living having a baseball stadium in my neighborhood, and I'm that would just that'd be so disruptive to it's be loud, be drunk people everywhere all the time, and a kind of a suburban setting, when you have families and stuff. So
I would love that.
I heard that this part of the county is their biggest fan base, and so they probably really appreciate it since they can walk to the game or something. So maybe it's they picked the right area that wouldn't get as annoyed as little suburban
it'll probably be good for the team itself, because they're gonna get a lot of money coming in if it is in an area where people are hardcore fans, because easier for them to go to games.
Schools are humiliating students for lack of funds and prepaid lunch accounts. So apparently this kid didn't have enough money in his prepaid lunch account, and the lady just dumped the food in front of him and embarrassed him, took him to the office where this kid was crying, had to call his mom, and then just a big fiasco.
Yeah, so apparently they're doing that in order to punish the parents. They're humiliating their children to get back at parents for not paying, being on top of their payments. And I think that's so twisted and so wrong. You
How
can't.
much money can you be out at that point? I know at my school you got down to -$5, and then they started giving you the little Uncrustable peanut butter sandwiches, and that's all you get that and some milk, and that was your meal for the day.
Yeah,
nice.
that's so terrible to think. He was a pretty young kid too, and you're emotionally traumatizing him, first of all, humiliating him in front of his peers, and it's a form of bullying. It you're an adult who's doing this to a child, and also you're taking away his food. That's so unnecessary. Now he's gonna go hungry, and it's probably a good meal that's just gone to waste. And
he's gonna be so embarrassed.
Yeah, he's embarrassed. He's
his
hungry.
emotions.
That's just so uncalled for, I think.
I can understand being upset with the parents for the lack of responsibility, but if you don't have a way for the parents to have access to know what's in the account, then you have no right to complain, because from my understanding, she had no idea at any given point what was in her student's account.
Well, she said usually it would go you're down to -15 cents, but when this event occurred, it was just nothing. She thought there was probably some money in there, and then suddenly she gets this phone call.
Yeah. Regardless of if she was wrong, or she intentionally didn't pay the money or whatever, I think taking it out on her child is just not right, no matter what. You can't. Why are you traumatizing an 8-year-old? There's no reason to do that. If you have a problem with the parents, you call them up and you tell them. There's a professional way to handle things, and I think that was just unprofessional, unnecessary, uncalled for.
Yeah, because I was in kindergarten. I have stories all today. So I was in kindergarten, and I took
I was too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I was in class. I had a chocolate milk, but I guess I didn't get chocolate milk that week. And I took it, went to my desk, and she stopped the whole class. She's like, "Who took the chocolate milk?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh." And then, so I went under to my desk to tie my shoe, and it was under there for 10 minutes. I still remember this. I started crying because she pointed me out and yelled at me in front of my whole class, and everyone started laughing at me. So I still remember that from kindergarten.
Oh
This
my
kid is
God.
gonna grow up hating that teacher. So
Yeah, it's like
Guys,
it's like scarring. Like
it's
you get
so
scarred
scarring.
like from like being it's so terrible because you took the chocolate
I
milk.
just wanted to drink. I want to get my vitamins and couldn't.
Vitamin D.
So that's
Oh, Hannah, your stories tonight are so uplifting.
Oh yeah. You guys want me?
Well, that's all we have for you tonight. So we will have an interview coming up with the founder from Urbana Poppin Champaign, and we will see you soon.
Hello to you and welcome back to SeeYou Weekly. November is officially Hip Hop History Month and it also marks its 39th anniversary. In order to get in touch with the culture, we have DJ Creative Urbana Poppin Champaign, who is joining us in the studio tonight. Welcome, and how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you so much. So for our viewers out there, for our viewers who are watching us, tell us what UPC is and how did you get started with it?
So UPC is currently a urban channel. We're based out of Urbana-Champaign, and it's all run by students that go here. So it's a very locally independent, not affiliated with the school at all. And so I originated actually my senior year of high school. So when I found out I was going here, I decided, I wanted to open up a blog, something for music where I could post to share with my friends, because I was always, the one getting the latest music and sharing it with my friends, and, they always wanted to know, like, what I was listening to. So kind of started a small blog just to update my friends, and sure enough, freshman year, it kind of built up a gradual following, and after that, started getting more and more hits, and before I knew it, I had people hitting me up asking me to write for it. So
That's incredible. So why hip hop versus rock or, I don't know, any other genre of music?
Well, hip hop is always something that, I've been interested in more so than any other genre. My musical, everything I listen to is very diverse, but hip hop is something that just strikes me. It's my forte, so it's definitely something that I can really relate to in some ways, and it's something that interested me more so than anything else before, because the way I got involved with music was I was producing. So something that really interested me was, sampling and making hip hop beats.
So what artists have you guys featured on your website?
Over the 4 years that we spent here, we've had the chance to work on a lot of shows, do a lot of interviews, a lot of features. So some of the artists that have come throughout those last few years include Mac Miller, Wiz Khalifa,
Big
Machine
names
Gun
out there.
Kelly. A$AP Rocky, Kendrick Lamar, Drake was also here. We were actually there for that show. So, a lot of these big artists that come through, we, show support, but also a lot of the smaller ones. So, Smoke DZA, Currency, there's a lot of shows that go on at the High Dive and then the Canopy Club and then, at the State Farm Center. So we definitely try and put our hands in everything that's going on.
That's great. You guys are supporting everybody out there. That's really great.
Yeah.
So how has the UPC grown from a small local side project to more of an international culture site?
The way it started was just a small project. That was me, and then obviously we gained some momentum, brought along some new writers, contributors, and now we actually have a whole team that's working, and not just writers but PR, people handling our video, audio. So what we tried to do was not just offer music but stuff that contributes to the whole culture of hip hop. So not just music but style, art, fashion, whatever it may be, because hip hop is much more than just music. It's a statement.
Absolutely.
It's a way of life in a sense. So it's definitely many more components to it. So when we introduced UPC.FM, that was something that was the urban culture, urban channel online where people could go tune in, see what's going on, not just in the music, but in other areas of the culture.
That's so cool. So I know you mentioned about how you guys had Drake, you guys had Kendrick Lamar. So how do you guys get tickets for that? And I also see it on the website and on your Facebook page, you guys give out tickets for, like, hey, if you like this, and we'll give you free tickets. How do you guys get that?
Well, over the years, we've got a chance to build really good relationships with a lot of the promotion companies, promoters, and artists in general. Actually, that come through. They'll remember us. They'll hit us up. So it's great that we've been able to build that relationship with these people, because it's without them, they wouldn't
It's great networking.
Yeah, not just that, but we definitely feed off of each other, and so like we'll help them push, they'll help us get coverage. So it's a very mutual.
That's great. That's awesome. That's so cool. So, I mean, your website is a music website. So how is it different from any other website out there?
In a sense, I guess it's locally based. So the thing is, we're offering our readers coverage in general of everything that's going off in the whole spectrum of hip hop, but at the same time, we focus locally. And before this, there wasn't too many things going on that really kind of was a cultural hub for what's going on in the area. So with this, we hope to not only let people know that they're interested in hip hop, what's going on, kind of bring everybody together, offer discussion, and at the same time draw interest to people who might not, per se be interested in it or didn't know that they were previously interested in it. So we just want to offer a new way for people to interact with the culture,
Absolutely. It's always good to be really aware of the different cultures that are out there. And especially Champaign. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of people, I mean, there's hip-hop, a lot of people listen to hip-hop here and also country. So it's always good to
and EDM,
get another perspective out there. Yep, absolutely. So one last question. What do you hope to gain from this project? Since you started from the beginning, what do you hope to gain from it once you graduate?
Well, when I started it, I didn't really see it going anywhere. It was just something personal for me, and obviously over the years it's kind of expanded. And now, like I said, I want it to be a spot where, people who are interested in it can go, put discussion in, kind of help the culture expand here, give it a spot where people can go discuss, listen to new stuff, and just find out what's going on with the culture. Because here, I really hope it picks up, and in the next 4 years, who knows where we'll be. Hopefully doing even more bigger events, having even more artists, having some bigger names come down here possibly to perform. So we'll see.
Well, you've been making moves since forever. So before we wrap it up, are there any dates or events we should keep in mind?
Currently, just keep an eye out for next semester. There will be some big events going on. I can't reveal too much about that, but just be on the lookout for UPC events. So,
can you tell us a little bit about it, maybe? Little hint?
not too much. I don't know.
So it's gonna be big then.
It's gonna be big. Yeah, you'll hear about it even if you didn't watch this interview. So.
All right, DJ. Well, thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us this week. We had a good time, and I hope you did too. Come join Impulse Magazine at our fall release party this weekend. The celebration will feature various giveaways and grab bags, special cupcake treats, and raffle prizes that will be distributed throughout the night. The event starts at 9 p.m. at the Clybourne. Wristbands for the event will be $5 each, and they can be bought from any Impulse staff member or by messaging the Impulse Magazine Facebook page. The wristbands provide $2 You Call It's and let you skip the line at Cly's. All guests with wristbands will be given one free raffle ticket, and any additional tickets will be sold for $1 each. Wristbands are required for access to the event.
There will also be a lip sync competition at Greg Hall in room 112. Doors open at 6:30. Show starts at 7 p.m.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and be sure to subscribe.
And if you have any suggestions for any topics we would have for our next show, please let us know. And we'll see you next week.